This episode of the Topcast is proudly supported by the ABRSM. You're listening to the Topcast, the original podcast for growth-minded instrumental music and voice teachers since 2015, with your host, Tim Topham. Our mission at Top Music is to empower instrumental music and voice teachers to find and nurture their innate creativity so that they can teach lessons that are innovative, integrated, and inspiring, and that will have a positive, lifelong impact on their students. Join us each week as we interview teachers and creators from around the world and unpack fun and exciting ideas to maximize your teaching and studio business success. G'day teachers and welcome back to the Topcast. It's great to be spending some time with you again today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It really means a lot that you're happy to spend a little bit of time each week with me. Whether this is your first time joining us, a very special welcome to you, or whether you have listened to lots of our episodes. I'm delighted to bring this show to you and thank you very much for being here. And a special welcome to our Top Music Pro members. If you're like me, you probably spend at least a little bit of time each week on YouTube, whether that's with your students showing them example performances or recordings, or just getting completely lost in their algorithm and being shown immensely interesting videos that you just can't get away from. It's a little bit like TikTok, but longer videos, really. A while ago, I found today's guest's site and I thought, oh, this is really interesting. I might keep in touch with her. And so today I finally got her on the show to explain what she's been up to. And so if you've considered starting a YouTube channel, or you do have one and you're wondering how to grow it, or you want to have multiple channels, as today's guest actually does, then this is definitely going to be a show that's of interest to you. So my guest today, her name is Emma Fajcz. Now that's F-A-J-C-Z. I'm not saying the word fight as in to punch. That's how you actually pronounce her surname. Also known as Emma Blair Piano. She's a pianist of 15 years and a piano teacher for 4. She didn't have a typical start to piano. She quit piano lessons after several years to focus on dance, but later found her passion for piano as a teenager. After a few more years of piano, Emma figured out that there must be ways to streamline her practice routine so that she could learn more in less time. And what she learned was too helpful to keep to herself. I think you can tell where this is going, right? Through her social media and email newsletter, Emma shares piano practice tips that help piano students and teachers make practice both fun and efficient. Welcome to the show, Emma Fajcz. How are you going?
Very good. Good. Nice to meet you, Tim.
So tell us a little about yourself and particularly the teaching you're doing today, because I think you've shifted over time from more teaching one-on-one and a more traditional style of teaching to working through your YouTube channels, which I now know you have multiple ones of. So I'm really interested to hear this journey. But tell us, what kind of teaching do you do at the moment?
Well, I teach a couple of students in person. I used to teach some over virtual as well, but I've kind of shifted now. Well, I kind of have been doing online for a while, but I'm putting more of my attention into sharing piano tips and practice tips and strategies through like my YouTube and emails and Instagram. My goal is really to kind of inspire and encourage piano students and piano teachers right where they are, to give them like actionable tips that they can incorporate right into their practice. And so they can have more fun at the piano with less hard work and get more done in less time.
Well, we all want that for our students. And for any pianists listening, I would love to come back to that and find out how that actually looks in practice. If you're happy to share a couple of tips maybe about how you work with your students through YouTube on that. But I wonder if you could just tell us a little about the journey that you've taken to get here. I assume when you first started teaching, it was more, I'm gonna teach piano, so I'm gonna have some kids in my house or online. How did you then merge into more the YouTubing?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I was kind of a reluctant piano teacher, if that makes any sense. I took piano lessons for quite a few years as a kid, and then I quit because I was like, oh, I hate piano. I don't want to practice anymore. So I was like, okay, I'll let you stop taking lessons. So I stopped, and then I came back as a teenager to taking lessons. And I found that I really loved piano, and so I got really excited about it and into practicing. And eventually I started teaching, I think in 2020 was like my first year teaching, not because of COVID, just how that worked out. But I started with a couple of in-person people and eventually a few virtual students. But I'm already into online business because I run a food blog with my mom called Savor the Flavor. And
Oh, so did that come first, did it?
yes, actually, we started that in 2017. And so I already had a lot of online skills. And my mom was like, you already have these skills. It'd be an easy way for you to start diversifying your income a little bit if you wanted to try this. So I thought, sure, I'll give it a go. And I found that it was a lot of fun doing videos because I was more a photographer for quite a few years. And I thought, wow, this is fun. I could do videos. And then I started like on the side researching how to practice better because I was like, there's got to be ways that I can learn my pieces a little quicker. There's got to be ways I can practice better. So I was researching that and I was like really excited with the stuff that I found. I thought, wow, I've got to share this with someone. I was like, so I wish I would have learned this years ago. So I kind of combined those two together to make Emma Blair Piano.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And so do you perform yourself or do you practice? Because you kind of said you practice yourself. So do you have a performing career?
I don't really perform much, no.
You practice for your own pleasure?
Yes, just for fun, really.
Yeah. What kind of things? Are you more of a pop player or more of a classical player?
I'm definitely classical for sure. Although I love playing different like jazzy things. I don't know if you're familiar with Christopher Norton and his Connection series, but I absolutely love Christopher Norton.
Yeah, absolutely. And kids do too. What classical stuff are you working on at the moment?
Well, I've got a Brahms intermezzo that I've learned, and so that's good. And I'm working on a Rachmaninoff prelude and a Mozart sonata right now.
Wow, fantastic. So how would you say you break down your income in terms of the different YouTube channels and potentially other sources as well?
Well, I just monetized one of my piano channels. My other one is just kind of like I'm not really putting much attention on that right now. It's just kind of a fun one whenever I want to post, which isn't very often. But my other one, I definitely put more attention into. But my income right now is kind of equal between teaching lessons and my online various income streams.
Okay. And so when it comes to talking about online income streams, are you talking about the money that YouTube pays you for views and ads and things, or do you monetize your channel by selling things or courses or stuff?
I have a couple of little streams. So I have my website, which I have monetized with some display ads. Now, since coming into this from a food blogging career, that's your bread and butter as a food blogger is your display ads on your website. So I was eager to get those up on my site, even though my site's comparatively smaller than our food site is. So that I get some income from that. Mostly my income, though, is from the YouTube AdSense. Uh, and I also get a little commissions from Amazon Associates as well.
Oh, for recommending products and things.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so why do you have two YouTube channels? I'm mystified as to why you didn't just convert them all into one or something.
Well, it was weird because I actually started with one, which is now the one that's kind of defunct. I don't really post on that one anymore. And that was originally just one to post videos of myself playing and then some of my student performances as well. And then eventually I was like, I should do some videos that are like teaching, like showing people how to learn piano a little better, practice better and so on. So I put those up on that channel. And then I was like, maybe it's not doing so well because I have this other content on here that's like piano performance. It's kind of two different things. So I was like, I'll split them off into two different channels. So it's a little more niche down. And that I think did make a difference. I did see some growth after I did that. Because sometimes mixing too many things on one channel, it's just the algorithm gets confused what to show.
What to present to other people. For people who aren't familiar but may be interested in YouTube, how many subscribers or views do you need to get to make any kind of significant income from it that's more than, $20 here or there sort of thing?
Yeah. Well, it depends. I know YouTube rolled out a new lower level of monetization about a year ago, maybe. And I forget the requirements for that. It's lower. But for the full version of the partner program, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in 1 year, if I remember correctly. It's been a while.
That's in order to become a monetized player sort of thing. Yeah. Okay.
Indeed. Yes, that's true.
So you can't even get money from YouTube until you've hit those benchmarks.
Well, that was like the old thing. There's a newer, lower level part of the partner program. So if you have, I think it's like 3,000 watch hours in a year, and I forget what the minimum subscribers is, might be a little lower. But anyway, if you can get in a lower threshold there and start earning money from a couple of ways, and then if you want the full partner program, you need the 1,000 subs, 4,000 watch hours.
Okay.
So,
and then you get paid by time, is that right? By the number of watch hours?
well, it works differently depending on like long videos and short videos have different RPMs, which is revenue per 1,000 views. So you typically get pretty low RPMs on a YouTube short, but you get higher RPMs on a longer form video. So but you can earn a lot for both. It just depends how many views you get and those different content types.
What would your advice perhaps be to teachers who are in your position, but a few years ago now, and who do enjoy being on video and could see themselves doing that? What advice would you give them as to sort of their reality, how long this might take and things like that?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So in order to have a YouTube channel, it is a big time investment. And it is an investment if you wanted to like invest in some gear to get going too. So there's a little bit of an upfront cost to it if you wanted like fancier equipment or whatever. And that's kind of why I've even shifted on my channel away from long form content, because I loved creating the long form content and it was a lot of fun, but it took so much of my time because I love editing, and I was like, oh, I'm spending so long editing these to make them like as nice as I want. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get enough content out here. So although I love doing long form content, I shifted to do short form videos because I can get those out a lot faster. I can cover more different topics and I can kind of have my hands in more pies, so to speak, with short form videos. So if you're a teacher and you're not sure, should I do long videos or short videos? I just experiment. See which one you like shooting, editing, which ones do better on your channel or on your social media page. It really comes down to what works for you, what you're excited about, and then look at what would make you more money too. It's both.
And are you finding that your channel is just growing by YouTube's algorithm putting you in front of other people? Or do you have to kind of go out there and push it?
Well, actually, I found that YouTube growth for me, like it's kind of slow and steady. Like, of course, you can have big spikes if there's like something that's more viral or whatever that goes out, but you can't really ride on those spikes of hope. It's like what we call it here in online terms. But
spikes of hope. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, but so it's more like a slow and steady growth over time. And to be honest, I found YouTube is an easy platform to grow on compared to like Instagram. I've had a hard time growing on that platform for sure. And Facebook is pretty tricky too. So I encourage, like, if you want to get started, YouTube Shorts, there's a lot of room there for a lot of people to grow.
So let's talk about Instagram as well, because I know that is another platform that you use. And I know a lot of teachers do use Instagram for promoting their studio and getting new students in. Now, I know that's not a feature of what you do yourself, but have you got any thoughts on where Instagram kind of sits at the moment?
Well, for me, what I love about Instagram, for piano especially, is that it really allows you to connect with people on a personal level. You can share stories in the moment, and you can really like get feedback from people. You can kind of connect with them in the comments or in Insta stories. And it's just really nice to not feel like you're so alone, in the piano niche. It can be kind of isolating. You practice by yourself, you teach, one person at a time, it's just very isolating. And so it's fun to see other people on Instagram, other piano teachers, other students, and just to connect. And I think that's really the strength of Instagram. And it's just fun to engage with people there.
Now, I am a fellow blogger. Well, you were a blogger before, but you're not so much anymore. So I'm interested to hear about your transition away from blogging. So how important was blogging before, and why have you shifted away from it?
Oh, I love blogging.
Wait, was that love or loved?
I love blogging now. I still, because I love to write. I've always enjoyed writing, and that's why I really like blogs. But I have a food blog as my main business. And since I'm always like, that's the thing with online business. If you're trying to rank, on Google and have your content ranked competitively, you always have to be updating that old stuff, right? So I've kind of on that updating cycle with my other website. And then, so with this website, my piano website, I was like, oh, it takes a long time to write a blog post and get all the images. And then I'm going to have to come back and update it later. So it's like, I'm going to just focus on growing my socials right now, growing an email list, and then writing stuff in my email list, because then I can talk about I don't have to worry about, will this topic rank in Google search? People be able to find this blog post? I can just write about the tips that I'm eager to share, the things that I want people to know about. I can just talk about on my socials and my email, and then they can get that.
Nice. And you don't have to feel like I've got to write a whole article about this. I can just have a quick chat about it and leave the blogging for now. And I totally understand. And I'm impressed that you're talking about updating posts, because we do our best to update our old posts. We've got over 500 blogs from over the years, and it's just impossible. Thankfully, 99% of it's evergreen, but it's still even evergreen content. So evergreen just means, ongoing. It's not time sort of specific content for listeners. But it's still, they just need a little bit of refreshing sometimes. So I totally understand that. You mentioned your email list. How are you getting people's emails?
Well, predominantly I get email opt-ins through my website. So I have a pop-up that comes on, and then people can fill that out. And I do different email. Shout out to Matt Mullen, if you've heard of Matt Mullen. He's a really great email guy. And so I've gone through his course a couple of times as a Raptive member. He's great. And so he does these things called quick start guides. And so those are really fun. It's like you can do a couple days, 2, 3, 5 days worth of tips, and you can make a series out of it, like a little mini course. And you can use that to encourage people to opt into your email newsletter. So like for piano teachers, it could be almost anything. There's so much you could talk about in piano. So right now I have one that's running called, goodness, I think it's about mental practice strategies. So it's like a 3-day series, I think. And it has, day 1, day 2, day 3, different tips on each day. And so those get sent out to whoever subscribes through there.
The Associated Board and the Royal Schools of Music has released its new piano syllabuses for 2025 and 2026. For practical and performance grades from initial grade through to grade 8, students will love the wide choice of repertoire. It includes familiar favourites, core classics and new commissions, as well as chart-topping pieces from pop, stage and screen. With professional audio recordings available to stream from music platforms such as Apple Music, Amazon and Spotify, it's now easier than ever to explore and choose exam pieces. Books for all grades, each featuring 9 selected pieces, are now available from all good music retailers, and students can use the new syllabus in exams from the 1st of January 2025. Explore the inspirational new repertoire and find out more at abrsm.org.uk/piano. Nice. And what are you offering? I've just found Matt Moylan, emailcrush.com. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, okay. What are you offering people in return for their email in the pop-up on your website?
Well, when they sign up to that, they'll get that email series.
So they're actually, that's what you're saying. I've got a great email series, 3 emails over a couple of weeks. Get it for free. Add your email here, kind of thing.
And then I send out a weekly newsletter as well, which Matt likes to call the Forever Series. And that's great for piano teachers, because piano, unless you're talking like Christmas recital or something, is so evergreen. Like almost everything in piano you could talk about any time of the year. And that's fantastic. I love that. Just in food blogging, it doesn't work that way at all. So it's so cool because you can write up a year's worth of emails and schedule those out in your email service provider. And then if you have someone who signs up to your email newsletter, maybe it's a piano student or piano parent, those practice tips can drip out to them. They can be auto-scheduled out for a year, and they could get those in their inbox once a week. Maybe it's someone who found you on social media, and they can get those tips sent to them every week, and you don't have to go and send it to them manually. They're getting that great information from you without you really having to work on it.
Yeah, you set up the sequence once and you write the emails, and then every new student just gets put on this list, or parent, as you say, and they just get updates regularly, the new bits of inspiration. I like the idea, Emma. Thank you for sharing that. So you mentioned your real passion is for teaching people piano online and helping them learn piano better and faster. So I wonder if you could share with our audience of music teachers, have you got a couple of tips that you could share that you've seen work that you're happy to share with us about practice and encouraging students?
Well, I think, let's see. Well, students, they like to see their progress. They like to feel encouraged that they're making progress. And one thing that's worked for me in my studio is making up a practice chart. Like, this is just for lesson time. And so they can see what they're doing during the week. and then you can see their practice over time. And that's really helpful because then when I come back to the lesson, I'm like, what did we even talk about last time? So that reminds me what we covered. And that's really helpful. But I find for students, I try to incorporate in their lessons things that they can do during the week that will help them practice better where they are. So maybe they need more help with scales. So I'm like, let's go over the scale properly and make sure you do this, a couple times at your beginning of your lesson with your pieces, make sure you break it into sections. We'll just go through and I'll try to incorporate those practice tips right into their lesson. Just so that is kind of built in. I wish I had that when I was younger too.
Well, I mean, it should be part of a music lesson. Let's be honest. If you want a student to make progress, you need to show them how to make progress, which means how to practice. Any sort of general tips that you give students, not in your one-on-one lessons, but the ones on your YouTube channel about, hey, this is a cool thing that I've just found out. You should try this.
Oh, goodness. Let me think. There's so many.
Oh, no, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing for me, because I still take piano lessons, which is one reason why I don't take a lot of students. So this year, I've really been learning more about playing musically, thinking in phrases. And so that's one thing that I try to talk about too, is stuff that I've incorporated into my practice and things that I've learned that I'm like, whoa, this is cool. So I've lately been sharing on my channel, focus on tapping your rhythms first too, because I also took dance for 10 years. So for me, rhythm, and this was a brainwave for me this year, that you're supposed to learn the rhythms before the notes when you're doing piano. It's like, whoa, okay, that makes more sense. So it's things like that. And then how I don't actually use the metronome a lot, things, because I try to keep an internal pulse going instead of just listening to the clicks. So things like that, where things that I've been taught by my piano teacher or I've researched and found out, and I try to share those because I find they're exciting. I'm like, wow, this will really help me. This will really help someone else.
So one of the big issues that I hear from teachers, and I guess I myself have found this as well, is overwhelm with, oh my goodness, I need to do a new YouTube. Oh, and I should do a new blog. Oh, and everyone's on Instagram. Oh, and what about Facebook? And everyone's groaning, I can tell as they listen to this. How do we solve this? What do we do?
Well, this comes down to, it depends. So it depends what you want to focus on. And, is your passion, do you really want to make money from your online stuff, or you're just doing it, or maybe it's just a supplement. This is just for fun. I'm doing this for my existing students. It's just like a perk for their lessons. I'm not trying to make any money from it. So you have to decide what your path is there. Are you going to monetize or not monetize? And then that kind of shows you where you need to focus your attention. And then you can see, well, it would probably be easier for me to monetize my YouTube channel. So I'll focus on that first. I can do that. But if you're not really if you don't care too much about money, then you could think, well, let me get an email list going. But you should get an email list going anyway.
I think
whether you make money or not. Just a tip there. But then you need to see what's your passion, where do you want to spend your time, and pick something that you enjoy doing. Like if you don't like Instagram, don't go on Instagram. So yeah, you have to be passionate about it or you're not going to have any fun.
And Emma, you seem like a really bubbly, passionate person. You've got 2 YouTube channels to maintain on quite 2 different topics. Do you sometimes also go, oh, I really have to do my weekly or however often you do your YouTubes, but I'm going to do it? Or is it genuinely, no, you're like, no, I'm pumped, let's go. I can't stop myself.
Well, it depends. Yeah. It depends on how my schedule is. And so sometimes I'm like, oh no, I've got to scrape up 4 or 5 video capture or video scripts for this week. Oh no, I've got to rush to do it. So that's sometimes how I work. And then other times I'm just bursting with an idea to get it out. But I find that for me, working in batching is really helpful, especially if you're busy. Because for me, what I do is I set aside usually Friday afternoon as my time to film something, and I try to edit it the same day. So and usually I'll work on my video scripts the day before. So I'll try to do maybe 4 to 6 videos, and I'll just try to get those done over the 2 days, and then they're ready to schedule out or use when I need them. And I try to do that with my emails too, because then if you're busy, then you're not oh, I've got to do this every day. Then it's just done.
It's so funny to hear you do it on Friday afternoons. That would be the worst time for me to try and do something like that. I'm Monday morning person for sure if I've got to record something Monday, or it's definitely in the morning anyway. We're all different, aren't we? I wondered as well, did you have any on your Instagram? It sounds like you probably use more stories perhaps than posts, but do you use any software for any of these social channels for scheduling?
Well, yeah, and scheduling is another thing too. If you are really busy, if you're overwhelmed, scheduling is so helpful. Oh my goodness. Like if you would just about lose your mind with all the stuff that you have to post, right? On different platforms. But YouTube has a built-in scheduler in YouTube Studio, which is fantastic. I use that one. And for Instagram, I actually use Meta Business Suite, which you can schedule out to your Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So that's really great. Since it's a native scheduler, you're not going to have any like connectivity issues. If there's piano teachers who use Pinterest, Tailwind is really great. I use Tailwind for my other business. And so, yeah. And then emails, I use ConvertKit, which is now Kit. And they have fantastic
They
ways to
changed their
schedule
name.
out emails.
I didn't know that.
Yes, they do.
And Tailwind is the Pinterest scheduler. We used to use that as well, actually, I think. It's a good reminder that a lot of the software, a lot of the platforms now have their own schedulers inbuilt, whereas it used to not be that case. And there was lots of other software you would have to buy. Now it's all incorporated and free, which is useful. What about
I remember
online?
those days.
Yeah. Grum. There was Meet Edgar. Do you remember that one? I tried so many of these. Co-schedule. Lots.
Yes, co-schedule. I heard about that. I never tried that one out. We used Tailwind for Instagram years ago, and I was like, oh, this is really clunky. I'm glad there's a native one now.
Yeah, it was. I think we still use Later. Later is a good Instagram scheduler if people are looking for it. And I think they do TikTok now too. Anyway, a couple of more questions before we wrap things up. What about online advertising? Is this something that you've tried? Does it fit in with your promotions?
I haven't done any like paid sponsored ads just because I'm trying to keep my profit margin fairly high if I can. So I try to do everything as much for free as I can and try to keep things low cost. So I haven't done any paid ads yet.
Got it. All right. Maybe in the future, would you consider it, or are you seeing the growth
Possibly.
that you want at the moment?
If I had something to promote, like a course or something, I might do that.
Anything on the horizon like that?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I'm really busy, so it would be fun to do a course, but I'm like, yeah, that would take a lot of my time to prep. So
is the food blogging side, is that's the larger part of your time and things at the moment, is it?
yes. Well, it's kind of I kind of spend, well, if you count all my practice and teaching and everything, it's probably about 50-50 as far as my time goes. But yeah, I spend a lot of time doing that too. So.
And perhaps I should have asked before, but I assume you've monetized the YouTube channel for the food blogging in the same way. Have you also created recipe books or other money income streams for the food blogging side?
Well, actually, our food channel isn't monetized yet because we haven't gotten the 4,000 watch hours.
So how are you building income there, or is that still in the future?
Mostly through display ads and through Amazon Associates. We have a Shopify shop as well through that.
Oh, do you? What do you sell in your Shopify store?
Digital products. We have some SPGs for like making t-shirts and things like that. And we have some menu plans, grocery lists and stuff like that too.
Just goes to show to the listeners out there, there is a world of opportunity with diversification. If you have other interests, you don't have to stick to music and instruments and stuff if you don't want to. Tell us, why don't we wrap up on that? What advice might you have for teachers who are interested in this diversification?
Well, just find where your passion is. Yeah, for sure. Like if you want to sell products, like there's so many piano teachers who sell like games and stuff like that. I'm always amazed at all the creative stuff they come up with. So like if you have products like that you would love to share, then start a Shopify store. That's a fantastic way to do it. If you have like tips and like you have all this wisdom, like you want to share like, here's how to learn this piece, like all the top pieces that your students like or whatever, then do videos. If you love to write, then do blog or do videos that have a lot of like informative stuff in them too. So it's just find your passion and follow that, because that will make it a lot more fun to work on.
Yeah. And it's okay to branch out into other areas. I mean, my other passion is cycling. And so I could easily see myself doing something in the cycling side of things, just as you do the food blogging. So Emma, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing some of your wisdom. Where can people go to find out more about you?
I'm on Instagram. My handle is at Emma Blair Piano. And my main YouTube channel is Learn Piano with Emma Blair. My other piano channel is just, I think, Emma Blair Piano. I haven't posted there in a while. And I'm also on Facebook too with Emma Blair Piano. And my website is emmablairpiano.com.
Well, that's not consistent. Oh, sorry, that if nothing but consistency there. Thank you so much, Emma. Really appreciate it, and have a great day.
Well, thank you so much, Tim. It was so lovely meeting you and talking with you.
Have you ever thought about ways to diversify your income online, whether that's through YouTube or a course or a podcast, whatever it is? If you're interested in having my help and our help here at Top Music, then make sure you head over to our website called musicteacherstartup.com. I created an incredibly comprehensive course a couple of years ago, which we've just updated, which is all about helping music teachers around the world to finally make their online, whatever it is, dream a reality. So that could be if you are interested in selling your arrangements or your compositions, or you want to start a newsletter or a blog or a podcast or a membership site or a seller course, whatever it is, we are here to help you. We are actually running an accelerator inside our Evolution Academy at the moment. And Evolution is where we hold our course, which is called Music Teacher Startup. We are just having so much fun helping and supporting the teachers that are in there right now to finally get that idea out of their head and actually into reality and in front of other teachers and people who they want to sell to. So I'm really excited to bring that to you. Again, if you're interested in that, head to musicteacherstartup.com for all the details. That's it for the show this week. Thanks again so much for joining me. I did hope you got some inspiration and ideas from today's show. Next week on the podcast, a very special guest. It is indeed the CEO of the MTNA, the Music Teachers National Association of America, the amazing Brian Shepherd. Can't wait to share that interview with you. I'm Tim Topham, and you've been listening to the Topcast from Top Music. I'll speak to you again this time next week. Bye-bye, everyone. How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages, both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support, and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today. If you enjoy this show and want to hear more of our work, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening today. For links and resources mentioned in this episode, visit us at topmusic.co/podcast or check out the show notes. I'm Tim Topham. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll catch you next time.